Hey everyone, and welcome to the next installment. Let's jump straight in with the change. If you remember last time, and every other time, the rear indicators were obstructed by the number plates. Well, look what I've done. I've mounted them up here. Sensible idea, much higher line, looks much more modern, definitely much more visible, perfectly secure and no problem with the number plate obstruction. The MOT may fail for the corners that were notched out of the number plate before I bought it, but that's not a big deal, might need a new plate. But I've remounted the indicators, much happier, looks much better. They're the same height as the front indicators and roughly the same width, so much happier with that idea. Other remaining jobs are the exhaust. It's not been fitted fully. I have a new gasket to go in here, and I have this join down here, which I'm not sure if you can see. This join down here, it's not quite airtight, so I need to make that airtight and fit the new gasket at the front. So I have some high temperature black silicone sealant I've seen on Delsboy Garage, so got myself some of that, looks quite useful. And I might get a new clamp, get that fitted well, get it sealed, stick the new gasket in with a bit of sealant as well. I'm also going to tidy up the plug and lead, it looks a bit crap compared to the rest. Rear brake switch, I need to get that working, so I'm not sure why it's not, so I need to see what's happening with that. I know it can work, it just isn't working at the moment. The battery, now and again it appears to leak, so I need to just check everything's tight on that really, and I also need to check the voltage on it. And one of the reasons I need to check the voltage is it's either faulty at a low voltage or I have a bad earth, because when I apply the indicators, left indicator front and rear works beautifully, hit the right side and the tail light and headlight flash. So bad earth, bad relay, low voltage. Got to rule them out, not in that order. Check out the voltage, I'll check out the earthing, which is probably a connection in the front has come loose, to be fair, and we'll see. But I know there's not a lot of battery voltage in there. The neutral indicator light, it's never worked. Could be the bulb, could be the wiring, could be the switch, don't know. No idea anything about it, haven't looked. Got to do that as well. And adjust the brakes and just adjust the smooth running. So a few cable ties, tidy up the cables, run them properly, and just electric stuff really. And we'll see how it goes from there. So that's today's jobs. Sort out the voltage, sort out the earth, tidy up the cables, refit the exhaust, and also some mirrors. The mirrors that were on it got broken. Short story, not worth telling. Got some new ones, thanks to It's Not a Jigsaw for hooking me up for a couple of mirrors on mates rates. Cheers buddy, you've been a big help on this project, and I do appreciate it. We're nearly finished, and I think you enjoyed having a little blast on it last time you visited, so at least you got to ride this bike. It's looking good, you know. I'm very pleased with it, and I'm going to be sorry to see it go, but she is going. Once she's MOT'd, she will be up for sale, so let's see if I can get my money back, basically. But it's been fun, and I just want to do another one. I want to be starting another one already. Bloody love it. I love watching these project videos. Del Boy, I've been watching Copperfish's videos. His are really good on the plasti dip stuff. Johnny Cactus Zero, Hack a Week, and lots of the American guys. Really enjoying it. So here we have a multimeter, positive and negative. There's varying ranges for measuring resistance and voltage, AC and DC. We want to set it to the 20 volts DC range, which means it will read up to 20 volts without causing any damage. That's the ratio, the range it's calibrated for. Obviously a car battery is 12 volts, some bikes are 6, most bikes are 12, and a flat battery can be anything down to nothing. A low battery is normally sitting around 9 volts, and I think that's the reading I'm going to get on this. Put that up there so you can see. Charged battery will sit around 11.8 to 12.5, and a running battery, because the alternator is recharging, so it's adding a little bit of voltage there to top it up, will run on a car about 14.8, 14.7, something like that, and on a bike a little bit less, which is why if you ever jump start a bike with a car, you should never jump start it with the car engine running. Normally if you jump start car to car, you would run the engine to supply more voltage and more power to give the car that's trying to start more cranking amps available to it. Do not do that on a bike. Do not have the car running. Older bikes not so important. Newer ones with more accurate rectifiers and ECUs and all this stuff, it can damage the bike. So just start it with the car off and sitting it at 12 volts. It doesn't need such a high cranking power because it's only a little bike. So positive into positive, and on this one the negative is green. Yep, let's do the negative first for safety. Negative or neutral. I'm going to have to hold that in place. Not much for you to see on this, I'm sorry. And let's get the positive in there. Well, that tells a story. 3.88 volts on the battery. Now, even with the engine running, it's not going to be much more. So, flat battery. I can try charging this battery, but ultimately if it's that low, I think it may need replaced. But we shall see. So, mirrors. These are the ones that are going on. Not quite in keeping with the bike, and some might even say a little garish, but it's no jokes are just in my face. Hooked me up with these, so I'm not going to complain too much. So let's fit a mirror. Everyone knows how to do this, but let's do it anyway. Get your threaded piece on here. They're normally this size, but you do get these handy little adapters available should you need to change it. Now these ones happen to be standard, I think 10mm. So they go in square. Go the wrong way first, and then you'll find the seat quite quickly. Before you thread it down, make sure that this piece here is just a little bit loose, because that's going to be your locking nut. It's hot in here with that visor down. So that's it gone all the way in itself, so that's obviously no good. So bringing it back to roughly where you want it, and then use the locking nut to tighten it down to where you want it. Like so. You can use the spanner to torque that up. No idea what the torque setting is, but you can torque it if you want to. Right, this one actually needs an Allen key to adjust that down. Same thing goes here, slacken that off. Find the thread seat. Do it up. Not far off at that, to be fair. And I've got this Allen key slackened off because I had to adjust the height a little. Okay, let's try that out. Obviously I'm not going to bother setting them for now, but if they're on, they're on. That is not bad at all, actually. They provide some rear view. Alright, here's one not to try at home. This is the positive input wire that goes to the battery, so it takes the voltage from the battery, and the green one is the negative. And I've used two pieces of wire that are exactly the same. Always a bad idea. Try and use red and black, or black and white if you can, but it's heavy enough gauge wire that I can just connect it to this DC supply. It's the 13.8 volt universal power supply for running radio gear and things like that, so I know it's okay. A lot of experience with it. You've got to make sure that doesn't touch your frame, or you're going to get short. But essentially, for me, I'm taking the risk and I'm doing it. Don't do it at home. But it gives me a constant voltage above 12 volts, so I can test the items that run off the battery. And on this bike, that isn't everything. The headlight and I think the brake light and something else runs from the engine, from the generator in there, as opposed to things like the indicators, which run from the battery. So ignition on, no neutral light. Headlights, as I said, don't work because they run from the engine running. Horn, very good, we have power. rather dull, but certainly front and rear indicator left and front and rear indicator right, so it just shows it was the drop in voltage causing the funny headlight tail light indicator instead of the right indicator. So that's a shortcut way to test out those things. No tail light because it's not running, and front brake is activating the brake light, rear is not, so I need to look at that switch once I get a charged battery, which I'll do tonight. So charge the battery, get that back in, get the engine running, and I know the headlight is fine, so it's just a case of getting the neutral light and the rear brake light switch to work. Actually, as an afterthought, I could just start it. I don't need the battery. I've got the DC supply there to run the other things, so let's see if she starts. It's been sat for, oh, I don't know now, over a week, I expect. Good girl. So where's my choke? I didn't actually check the choke setting when I started that. Okay, so front brake, brake light, rear brake, no, so that's definitely, right indication is fine, left indication is fine, the main beam warning lights, we have main beam, dipped and side light. Okay, so in order that I can adjust the spring that holds the rear brake switch, this one, which is tucked in here, I'm going to take the exhaust off, which I'm doing anyway today, so I'm going to take that off in order to refit it properly with the new gasket and with the seal done, and that will allow me the room to get in and do the brake switch. So it's got two nuts on here, which I think are 13mm, just fitted in the back here for that to screw into, and on the front here two 10mm and the retaining mount and the collets. And that clamp, and then pop it off here, and it slides under the peg but over the brake lever. Just release the brake lever a little and off it comes. So that wasn't really worth filming, but the exhaust is now fitted fully and properly, very tightened. That joint's been taken apart, sealant's applied, given it a little bit of fettling to make it a nice tight fit, new clamp on it, and on the front section that's all tight with the new gasket in place. So let's see if she'll fire up and see how she sounds. You have to excuse my cold, I've been dying for quite a while. I left the fuel tap on last time. This might not be so easy. Or it might. So on the subject of the rear brake lights, there we go. Switch needs a bit of a clean. Ultimately, now I have a brake light. So to get this carb set up right, so still not happy. It's bogging down a little, but I think a lot of what you can hear on the video is this filter. If I can, it really does sound like I don't know, somebody tries to suck air through water. And that's a lot of it is just the noise from the filter. So there we have it, nearly done now. Exhaust's not leaking, the sealant's going off, smoking a little bit, so that's starting to cure. New gasket fitted between the carb and the insulating collar here. Just trying to set the idle a little bit, but sounds much better. Revving much freer. Got that deep grunt from the pod filter. Little engine's ticking over nicely. minor adjustment needed, I think, but I'm going to clean the seat tonight and get the battery charged, get this idle set, get it in for an MOT. The sooner the better. I'll take offers of £5,000.